My fellow Santa Clarans, on behalf of myself and the City Council, I'm here to inform the residents and businesses of a very critical issue that could have a devastating long-term impact on our city's budget and the services that we provide. Within the next few days, you should or have received a letter signed by all of my council colleagues outlining the potential financial threats to our city services. You have a right to know about the scope of the challenges we face, to understand what's at stake, and that we're fighting on your behalf. Very soon, the state of California will likely issue a report demanding that our city transfer more than $300 million, 2 times our general fund budget, and assets that belong to the city and to you, our taxpayers, to fund state obligations. These demands would force the city into extraordinary circumstances of devastating cuts in all that we do. Why take from Santa Clara? It's because we were unique in successfully investing our redevelopment resources in facilities that would pay dividends through the foreseeable future while strictly playing by all the rules. We find it unbelievable that the State Budget Office recently predicted upcoming state budget surpluses thanks to a recently passed tax bill. Yet they insist on taking even more from us. With the passage of the tax bill and the budget cuts already endured by the city, we feel that you have agreed to give up more than enough. And the state, by decimating the city's ability to provide the services you expect, is unjust, unfounded, and improper. This is why your city council and staff are doing everything in our power to protect our local taxpayer assets from the state raids. Our city's ethics and values program demands that we are fiscally responsible, and to sit idle while this happens would run counter to the standards we hold so high. The stakes for our community couldn't be greater. And if the state is successful, this raid on Santa Clara's city funds would also reduce our city budget by as much as $13 million every year. It's hard to imagine the steps we'd have to take with such a massive diversion of our city funds. But to put it in perspective, the revenues of that would be taken would be roughly equivalent to most of the Parks and Recreation Department, including the senior, youth, and teen centers, the operation of our city libraries, plus all of our annual street and road repair budget combined, roughly half of our total police patrol investigators, or half of our city firefighters. This is our fiscal cliff, and it could happen. The money in question has to do with the state legislature and the governor's action to eliminate our Community Redevelopment Agency, or RDA, back in June of 2011. As part of the state law, hundreds of redevelopment agencies throughout the state, including ours, were required to shut down and liquidate their assets to fund the state obligations or to go to other government agencies. Despite our strong objection to the elimination of the RDA, the city has worked diligently to meet all of our requirements under the state law, including the transfer of tens of millions of dollars out of our city to meet the state's unmet obligations. These funds are funds that otherwise would have benefited your local affordable housing projects, community economic development, job creation, and other projects to realize our community. Still, the city is doing the right thing by following the law. However, we believe that the $300 million I mentioned earlier are rightfully city assets and property that belongs to the citizens of Santa Clara, and we are obligated to fight the state's efforts to divert these funds. Here's why. Part of the city's successful redevelopment strategy over the past decades was to invest in buildings, real estate, and other property that produce revenue, about $13 million every year. The city has received tens of millions of dollars in rent and lease payments from these assets, revenues that have always gone to support and supplement our city's operations and quality services. Months prior to the passage of the state's law to abolish redevelopment, these properties and assets were legally transferred from the RDA to the city. Now the state is trying to retroactively claim property and assets that were transferred to the city months before the state law even passed. The state of California has been very aggressive in its attempt to force cities throughout the state to redirect local funds, but we believe the state has no right to force us to give up these city assets. We anticipate that very soon the state controller will be issuing a critical report in an attempt to divert these assets, and we need you to fully understand what is at risk. Please know we will do everything we can do to prevent further state transfers of our city assets. We have an obligation to our residents and taxpayers to protect your local tax dollars and local services. We promise to keep you informed as the situation unfolds. For more information and how to help, please visit the city's website at santaclaraca.gov. I know together we'll get through this, and thank you for your attention.